Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I got a quick tip video, and this is for everyone out there when you're replacing your battery. It's going to be regarding some things you should be looking at when replacing it, because sometimes some things need to be replaced. And I actually have a customer that had a very crazy issue with his vehicle, and I'm going to go over it. I will show you guys the part here next to me, and we're going to talk about a few things to look at when swapping out your battery for a new one. Now before we go ahead and begin, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Definitely smash the like button because it helps the channel out. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started on today's video. So today I had a phone call from a very good customer of mine, and they tend to do some small general repairs on their own and bring me the heavier stuff and stuff they can't really do. And he called me and said that he's replaced his battery twice in the past couple months, I believe it was, and he keeps chewing through batteries, and you know, he can't figure it out. He thinks his alternator may be bad, so he wanted to bring it in for me to replace the alternator. And I told him, go ahead, bring it in, let's take a look at it, let's do some testing beforehand. So like usual, I grabbed my battery tester, test out the battery, everything came out good. I immediately looked at the output on the alternator, everything was good there. On the starting system, everything checked out, everything was perfect. Got a little bit more info from the gentleman, and he just said that he just has to keep replacing his batteries. The batteries keep coming out bad, and basically after, you know, a month or so, he'll go out there and he'll find like a very weak start, and he'll take the battery to the parts store, he'll tell them it's bad, and they wind up replacing it. Now in my mind, I figured, you know, maybe he has some sort of parasitic draw, or you know, maybe these batteries that he's buying are just the cheapy ones. So after I verified that you know, it could be a draw or not, I did a quick millivolt test. You know, basically hook up a voltmeter between a battery post and just kind of see if the car goes to sleep, which this car passed flawlessly. And then after I did that, I looked at the battery. It's a pretty decent battery, so it was just kind of weird. Now you can simply assume that maybe you got two bad batteries. Maybe they had a batch of batteries that were bad, especially since he got two batteries replaced within, I think it was 2 months, so basically about a battery a month. Now, since parasitic draw was out of the question, and I knew this car was stock, no aftermarket accessories, I just kind of started checking out, you know, like, is the wiring good? Am I getting a variance of voltage and amps from the alternator terminal to the battery post and things like that? And upon doing some visuals, I didn't really have to get very far. I noticed that, you know, on the positive terminal, now this is the whole positive terminal for this vehicle, and if you just look at it like this, it's attached to the battery, you don't really suspect much of anything. It looked really dirty. Now this battery, the way it would pretty much crap out for him, it would sulfate. It would just basically release all the acid and go bad, take it to the parts store, they'd give them a new one because they would, you know, say it's bad. Now this was really dirty. It's not uncommon. I mean, in Chicago, most engine bays are really dirty, dusty. Sometimes you get animal droppings in and things like that. You get battery acid all over the place. Like, it's just, you know, it's normal. So upon looking at this, it wasn't horrible. He said he cleaned it up with some baking soda. But everything here, if you look at it, it looks good, you know, at least from the top view. But if you were to go ahead and flip it backwards now, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but right here, you guys will notice that there's only one metal ring, and then the metal ring that's supposed to be here for the bottom, the contact patch, that's completely corroded and gone. Now here's the thing. What I suspected was going on with this vehicle is that the battery was pretty much meeting a lot of resistance, or the charging cable to the battery, I should say, was meeting a lot of resistance at this positive terminal. So what I did was I just basically let the car run for a little bit, you know, about 10-15 minutes with the hood open, and then I grabbed my thermal camera and I just kind of looked at, you know, the battery terminals and the overall temps of the battery, and pretty quickly it was very evident that this little sliver of metal that was making contact with the battery was not enough to supply the battery with voltage. Just like any electrical connection, if it's loose or it's not tight, what'll wind up happening is you'll build up a lot of heat, and that was causing the battery to get hot, basically boil itself, sulfate, and, you know, give up after a couple weeks or a month, whatever the case was. So I called up the local dealership. They had plenty of these in stock because apparently this is a very common problem. Now the design with this, and this is going to be a whole other separate video, is that you have to buy this whole thing in one. You can't just replace the terminal. This thing is pretty expensive. Now a little hack for everyone out there, just so you know, instead of paying, you know, like $70-$80 for this at the dealer, Dorman does make a replacement, and 99% of the time when I bought these, it's usually a Dorman rebadge where they'll just buy a motorcraft part. They'll basically etch out the name here and put it in their box and sell it. And you know, that's what you wind up getting. Now I couldn't get a Dorman, so I had to go to the dealer. They weren't available in my area. I guess everyone was sold out, so we had to pay a couple bucks more. But quick little tips when you change your battery, getting to the whole point of this video, because I feel like I've blabbed a little bit too much there, is when you're changing your battery, always make sure you have really good connections. Now the first tip that I always like to share with everyone is make sure your terminals are cleaned off. Make sure you have a good contact area and inspected. Make sure there's no damage to your battery terminal. Now, the second tip that I want to share with everyone is check out your battery tip and terminal, or post, I should say. Make sure it's cleaned up, free of debris. They make special brushes that you can put on there and just kind of, you know, brush up the surface. Or even if you have a little sandpaper, just, you know, polish it out. Give it a nice, shiny new surface. And also do the same on your terminal so you get the best mating possible, you know, so that way there's no impurities in between causing any sort of heat or any misconnection, to say the least. Another big thing that you want to check out with batteries that I've seen batteries prematurely fail is make sure you have a battery hold down. Not only are they a safety requirement, because if your battery's moving in there, I've seen cars where the battery moves and the positive touches ground and the car basically pops all of its fuses or winds up catching fire or some sort of smoke show. So you want to make sure you also have a good battery hold down. And if you're missing one, go to your local auto parts store. Even a universal one is better than nothing. I know the universal ones suck and sometimes they don't go back in, but you know, make sure your battery isn't flopping around in there. Also, a battery that's kind of moving around, what'll happen is it'll cause, you know, the terminal connections and things to vibrate and move a little bit more, causing more issues. And I think that was the root cause of this one, because this vehicle, even though the customer does his own work, apparently he took off the battery support because he saw the battery couldn't physically move too much. But you have to remember, when you hit a pothole, even though the battery may not be moving sideways, it'll lift up and bounce with the car. So that can also cause issues. And I think that's what wound up causing issues on this. This connection was being loosened over time, built up a lot of corrosion, a lot of heat, wound up chewing up that post there and creating all these issues. So make sure when you're replacing your batteries, you know, you kind of meet the criteria for those three things. You know, clean the terminals, make sure they're good and a lot of metal is on them. Clean up your battery post and make sure you got a battery hold down. So either way, I don't want to make this video too lengthy. Like always, please comment, like, and subscribe because it definitely helps the channel grow. I hope everyone has a wonderful day and I'll catch you on the next video.